Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, Judd. In celebration of Sam Darnold's first fourth quarter comeback victory since December of 2019,
Yes.
a man who, despite all the adverse circumstances that may have been self-created, flushed it all and put this team on his back in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Kind of.
No.
Get the flag.
All right. We'll wave the flag for everybody else, basically.
No, you wave it for Sam.
The defense, unbelievable.
No.
The time of possession, unbelievable.
Dude, I have a nugget on the time of possession, too. It's going to be
The offensive dominance, it was stupid yesterday, statistically. Not in the scoreboard, but statistically.
Yeah, no, we did vent line yesterday thanks to our folks at Park Tavern and everyone who showed up. It was just an incredibly fun event, even though the game was disgustingly ugly. People were chanting for every field goal. There were JPR chants ringing throughout St. Louis Park yesterday. But we've got so much more to get into here with our hottest Vikings takes. I bring Bears vent line to you guys today, which
I think I know what you're going to play.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable.
And a pie chart of praise off yesterday. But let's start our week off at Quick Trip as usual, Judd.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's Monday morning and you get up and you're like, okay, long week ahead. And where am I going to stop? And I'm going to tell you right now, nothing better on a Monday than convenience. And that's what Quick Trip is all about. Basically, a grocery store, but you don't have to go through all of the hassles that you do at a grocery store. Quick Trip, absolutely, positively the easiest place to stop. There's the Kruba coffee right there. So it's Monday. You're a little bit tired. Guess what? The Kruba coffee's great. Pizza for, let's say, lunch. Dinner? Yeah, exactly right. Quick Trip has all of the answers. In fact, you know what Quick Trip is? It's your own personal offensive play caller because it's giving you all of the plays laid out. They're scripted. They're fantastic. That's Quick Trip. That's why you need to make your next stop. Quick Trip.
Also, you may have noticed on the YouTube intro here this season that we've got Roku on board, the #1 streaming platform in America that also offers a new line of smart TVs made specifically by Roku. In fact, the Mackies are month 3 of their 65-inch Pro Series 4K TV, filling out the living room quite nicely for football season. Super easy to toggle between all the different sporting events and apps that you love on these Roku TVs. Go to Roku.com to learn more or shop at a retailer near you. And also, we are giving away a 75-inch Roku Pro Series 4K TV on the Score North app this month. So open the Score North app, go to the listener rewards section, and you can enter to win a 75-inch Roku Pro Series 4K TV. Boys, let's start with our hottest Vikings takes. Which one of you wants to go first here?
Well, I'm going to lay off the man who is going to be in the in the headlights all day today. So I'll start off with one, but it's really positive.
You mean John Parker Romo? You're going to lay off the praise of John Parker Romo?
Oh, God, yeah. Will Reichert gone. That's my hottest take. You got to make a kick. Come on, KO. Make that kicking change. Make that now. But here's mine. The Vikings defense has now played 26 games under coordinator Brian Flores, who we all agree, for the most part, has done a fantastic job. This was their best game defensively. And I know Mac Jones is bad, and I know Jacksonville's bad, but let me just put into context what this defense, you see, here's the difference. The defense had an opportunity against an inferior foe and absolutely took advantage and played a great game. The offense did, and a lot of the offense did really good things, but unfortunately, because of the quarterback play, they didn't take advantage and put up the points. But I mean, when you look at this game, it probably should have been 35-7 or something like that. But defensively, the 143 yards, yes, I did not misspeak, 143 yards allowed, 59 fewer than the Raiders had in that game in Vegas last December, which was the fewest allowed under a Flores Vikings defense until Sunday.
Yeah.
They had 3 sacks. They had 2 key picks. They forced a fumble, again, a key one. gave up 56 rushing yards. That's Williams Wall type of thing. Like, that's where you just abandon the run. 87 net yards passing. The Jaguars at the end of this game had 10 drives. 7 of them were 4 or fewer plays. 4 or 7 of the 10 drives. Basically, the only drive that you would like back, I guess, is, I think it was the second drive that ended up with a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But this was a dominant defensive performance. And it's the exact type of thing that, conversely, we're going to talk about today and say, well, the offense put up all these great stats, so how did they not score more points? If you watch the game, you know the answer to that question. But the defense deserves credit, and welcome back Blake Cashman. I mean, if anybody doubted if anybody doubted what that dude means, I am blown away. I mean, we saw this guy play in college, and I don't remember once thinking, okay, this guy on Sundays is going to be not just good, but really good. He's going to make a difference.
You know what we should do? We should have, I'll throw this on the Sports Dad's plate. You should do an updated top 20 Vikings list, because I did the one in the offseason and had Van Ginkel was like 5th and we debated it. I'd be curious to see where you and we put Blake Cashman after watching him for a half season now.
Well, and then not. Like, the thing to me is the 2 games that he missed now, which we were like, that's going to hurt. I think it hurt more than we thought. So,
I mean, yes, in retrospect.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly.
So
okay,
I was told hottest take.
I was told, maybe by the Sports Dad, that the Lions and the Rams had cracked the code of the Vikings defense, and even if they were to bounce back against some of these upcoming teams, the Jaguars, the Titans, that it doesn't really matter because those aren't the caliber of teams you're going to play in the playoffs, that those caliber teams, namely the Lions, but the Rams too, cracked the code and nothing matters going forward. So it sounds like you're back on board with the Vikings defense, even though they did it against Mac Jones and a Jaguars team that's about to fire everybody on that coaching staff.
I'd like to see what Detroit does.
I was told.
I'd like to see what Detroit does, but my hottest take off of this game in particular was that you can't be upset about Darnold's performance and then say, well, it was just the Jaguars when the defense shut them down. So you're being told for this game that this is the most impressive performance because the defense did, as a whole, every member did what they should have done. And that basically made the Jaguars offensively as impotent as you could possibly be.
It did feel like, even though the Vikings were losing for a large chunk of this game, or even when they were winning by like 2 points and then 5 points, it always felt like they were up by 20. Like I never, at no point watching that game did I ever think, oh my gosh, the Vikings might lose this game. Maybe like a little bit in the back of my head, could Sam Darnold throw a 4th and a 5th and a 6th interception or something? But it was the weirdest game flow because even though they were losing for most of it, it felt like there was no way the Jaguars were going to move the ball and march on this defense, and the Vikings would find a way to navigate to like a 35-yard field goal or 2, and that's pretty much what they did.
You felt like if the Vikings could, and they did take a lead, the game was over.
Yeah.
Like I thought including a field goal. So it'd be a touchdown would have been nice, but you felt like, okay, if JPR, who just prefers to go by PR, just makes that 4th field goal, this game is done, and indeed that was correct. So
I feel like it's a bad branding play by John Parker Romo to get rid of the John. I think a 3-name kicker is a lot more recognizable and marketable than just the 2-name kicker.
This is really random, but I guess it fits in. Like, so Millie Bobby Brown, the actress that's in Stranger Things, so she married. I didn't know she married Bon Jovi's son. I think that's crazy. I knew she was married. I didn't know it was Bon Jovi's son, which is nuts.
John Bon Jovi. See?
So
if he was just John Jovi, you wouldn't think anything
that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. And when Millie Bobby Brown started becoming an actress, she added Bobby because she realized Millie Brown on SEO doesn't really shoot anything up. Millie Bobby Brown adds a new layer to the Millie Brown, and it shoots things up. Well, now she wants to put, I think, Jovi in it. So now it's Millie Bobby Jovi Brown. And now we're too many names. Now we're too many names into it. We're too deep into the pool, Millie.
You jumped the shark.
Yeah.
I'd keep the professional name professional, and then if you want to change your personal stuff, change that.
Well, the Sports Dad. Three-name talk show host. The Sports Dad.
I thought about it briefly. So my mother's maiden name's McKenna, and I thought about going by Declan McKenna because that sounds like an incredibly amazing Irish name. Yeah. But now there's a very prominent singer with the same name, so I'd be in the same boat.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't. Yeah, Declan McKenna is a very prominent singer. So now I would be buried in SEO trying to figure out where I am.
Oh yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Declan McKenna, born on Christmas Eve of 1998, alternative indie.
Not really my cup of tea.
Half a million followers on the gram.
But yes, it would put me in a rock and a hard place if that was the case.
Glad we covered that ground right there. Yeah.
Hottest takes. Yep.
Let me go next because I'll bring you to the offensive side of the ball here. We can do that whole conversation. Yesterday, despite some of the naysayers out there on Vikings Twitter, even on Vikings Ventline yesterday was one of Kevin O'Connell's greatest coaching jobs. Play calling, everything. So let's start with the box score here. The yardage difference, the first down difference. 28 first downs for the Vikings, 10 for the Jaguars. Now, mind you, going into this game, the Vikings had major problems sustaining long drives, time of possession. In fact, didn't we find that stat last week that the Vikings had ran the fewest plays of any team in the NFL? Yes. By far. It was like they weren't running plays.
Yep.
And so because they weren't able to sustain drives, Darnold has been great about the 40-yard chunk, but not the matriculation down the football field, right? So 28 first downs to 10, 402 total yards to 143, 82 plays to 43. In fact, I believe the Vikings ran more plays in Jacksonville territory than the Jaguars ran anywhere on the field in that game yesterday. Yards per play, 4.9 for the Vikings, so just under 5, and just over 3 yards per play for the Jaguars. An absolute decimation of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And here's my favorite one. I did a search on stathead.com, time of possession in Vikings history going back to the year 2000. Yesterday was the longest time of possession in regulation of any Vikings offense in any game dating back to the turn of the century, 2000. 42 minutes and 19 seconds. In fact, there have only been 3 other instances where the Vikings have had 40 minutes time of possession in regulation. And Judd, you covered maybe most of these, but November 22nd of 2009, so the Brett Favre season against Seattle, a 35-9 victory. The next week, they did it at home against the Bears in a 36-10 victory. And then go back to the year 2000, the last weekend in October, the Vikings scored only 25 points. It was a 25-7 win over the Bears at home. So those are the only 3 other instances where they've possessed the ball for 40 minutes. Historically, across the board, we have not seen a Vikings offense dominate a game like that in the last 25 years. And only one guy didn't get the memo, and it was Sam Darnold. So you can, people sit here and, Kevin O'Connell, this play call over here. Dude, he put together a masterclass in let's lean on this bad football team. Let's put together 10, 14 play drives. Let's never let them have the football. And then when they do have the football, let's terrorize them with Brian Flores' defense. And every time they got inside the deep red, or it's somewhere down the field where it's time to kick a field goal at worst, touchdown ideally, Sam Darnold went blue screen of death. So Kevin O'Connell, incredible coaching job. The process was there. The scheme was there. The play calling was there for a historically dominant offensive performance, and one guy sabotaged it.
So, yeah, if that's McCarthy, one would assume, too, that works perfectly or well, or if that's a veteran QB who's good. So, yeah, I think the only I mean, there's always going to be like play calls in particular to dissect. I think the only one that I really questioned was the 3rd and 1 when they didn't run and they thought that they saw that they could pass. And by that point in time, it was late and Darnold was a mess and he turned it into a sack and lost 8 yards. And then Ryan Wright comes on to punt. And of course, his ability to pin teams is not really good. So instead of it being inside the 10, it's at the 17. But yeah, overall, I saw a ton of complaints like of the games I've ever complained about. I mean, this was you can't look at those stats. Again, you cannot look at the stat sheet. If I just like, dare I say it, the 2009 NFC Championship game, if I gave you guys the stats and withheld the score, you're like, oh, the Vikings won by 25, 30 points.
Yeah.
So like there's one play call that didn't work, and I didn't like it because of the timing of the fact that Darnold was a hot mess by then. But overall, yeah, you can't debate the stat sheet.
It was legitimately,
yeah. I mean,
the game plan, the game flow, everything was designed for the Vikings to win that game, 28-7, 34-7.
Yeah.
And you had, now it's funny, I'm going to pick a fight with a random anonymous person on Twitter here. I woke up this morning and was groggily scrolling through.
Shocking, you are now going to fight with random people.
And someone says, "Oh, you're turning on Sam Darnold now, I see." No, I'm watching the games and opining on what's happening game by game. I don't think he's going to play like that was the worst version of Darnold. That was the Jets version. That was the broken version of Darnold. I think there's a very good chance with this coach, with these weapons, that he bounces right back at some point here and puts together 3-4 nice games in a row. But yesterday, he was literally the only guy without. He didn't get the memo. He didn't get the game plan. He didn't get the message that this is what's going to happen today is a 31-7 decimation of a bad football team on the verge of firing a coach. I mean, The Vikings showed yesterday that they have outgrown Sam Darnold in a lot of different ways. Now, he is still their starting quarterback going forward. He is still going to be out there running this ship and this system, and he'll still have some good games. But he did not live up to a pretty low bar yesterday against a bad football team.
The interesting thing, and I think it's because it came against the Jaguars, that it was surprising how bad it looked and how bad it was. But the interesting thing to me is, like, I went home last night and looked at the game by games of Darnold's season thus far. I hate to say it, but you could, in retrospect, sort of see this coming. Like, it's been trending this way. The Colts game, it's funny because so many of these games are ugly. And I'm not saying just the Vikings, I'm saying the entire league, that sort of once you get past it's a win. And hey, this team's won 7 games. But when you look at his game by game, you could sort of see the path. Now, is he going to rebound? Maybe. I have no idea. But it's not like this had been, recently, like the Colts game. Man, he was so good. And then we've sort of been trending there. And I think that KO is literally trying to hold off as long as he possibly can from these games occurring, play calling wise. But he has no choice here. Like, you cannot turn. The more I think about this, you cannot go at this point in time. I don't even know how you would sell this to your locker room, to walk in there and say, all right, we're making a change.
Yeah.
Nick is the next guy up. And KO's post-game speech in the locker room reflected that. Like, he's going to go down with this ship. And in his defense, he has no choice.
Yeah, they're stuck in a spot because the problem is if you move off Darnold into Mullins and then Mullins has a classic 4-interception game, now it's like, okay, exactly. Now you've ruined Sam. I mean, believing in Darnold and sticking by Darnold is the best path forward, I think. Unless, I don't know, maybe Declan has a hottest take that goes against that. But Dex, what is your hottest Vikings take?
Okay, let's go down this path because I have a Sam Darnold related take. I feel that I have not dipped my toe much into this well. I feel I'm someone that likes to turn the page. I feel like I'm someone that doesn't like to live in the past. But for a minute here, I'm going to dance on a grave to a degree. Here's my hottest take. I'll take Sam Darnold throwing 3 interceptions in a game, a playoff game even, before I give Kirk Cousins a clean slate ever again.
Wow.
Again, dude, yesterday, the Falcons, game on the line, 4th down, and he throws below the sticks. Again. He does it again. The current version of the Falcons are literally every era of Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. They have good playmakers. They have a good coach. They needed to overpay for a quarterback because they realized their current system is not going to work. So they overpay for it. They have glaring roster holes still on that team. They're 6-4, but they should be a lot better. Well, they're 6-4 because that's kind of what Kirk Cousins is. Meanwhile, the Vikings are literally still winning a game with their quarterback potentially turning into a pumpkin. Okay, to Judd's point, there's been some signs here that say, oh, I don't know if this is going to be this full Sam Darnold that we saw the first 4 weeks. There's going to be some regression to the mean. And yes, I didn't love the throws that Darnold was making in the red zone, but I'll take the kind of performance that Sam had yesterday. And I still feel pretty good about everything else with the Vikings, that they could still win a game. Yes, the Jags stink. Like, you're probably going to lose that game if you played the Lions or even the Rams again. But I'll take a Sam Darnold 3-interception clunker performance because at least he's chucking it and trying to do something instead of just looking at my read here and saying, well, I guess that's my best option. Whoop-de-doo, golly, bad luck me. I can't do that anymore. So I love watching the Falcons implode, and I'm totally okay watching Sam Darnold throw 3 interceptions before I give that guy another shot with this team. It set me off after it gave me crystal clear vision for my hottest take today after watching what took place in Atlanta.
Judd has a quizzical look on his face. I'm curious what's going through Judd's head right now.
Well, I don't want Kirk back, so this is not now my only comeback would be if you gave me Kirk back for 10 mil. I think I could make this work because the pieces are so good then.
Yeah.
But the reality is you can't. And so, yeah, I'm totally with you. I have no interest in Kirk at his price, which eats up a ton of cap room being back. So,
well, that's the funny, ironic argument that it's the round in circles argument for years and years is, well, if you were to put Kirk on this team with this defense, the Vikings would be a Super Bowl contender. I say, yeah, that's correct. But the reason why that can't happen is because the current quarterback for the Vikings makes a quarter of what Kirk does, average annual value. So and to Declan's point, the Vikings won that game yesterday, not because like Sam Darnold magically, like he was terrible for 3 hours. They won that game because of the defensive players they were able to add to the roster with the gap in salaries.
Yep.
So it gives you, and that's the best part is the Vikings have tapped into some really high upside quarterback play this year at times where, whoa, that's why that guy was drafted number 3 overall. Big arm down the field, athletic ability, can scramble his way out of pressure. He's tough. He can take a hit. And you've tapped into some big, like some of these first halves where they're putting up like 3 touchdowns early in the season. Is Kirk a better quarterback across the board? Yeah, probably. But give me the $30 million to go spend on Jonathan Grenard, to go spend on Andrew Van Ginkel, Blake Cashman, Stephon Gilmore, all these dudes they brought in.
That's the thing, exactly.
But it's funny, man, like Falcons internet right now, it is the same debate Vikings fans were having after that Giants playoff game. It was literally like, why would you scheme the play that way? Look at this guy was double teamed over here. He had no choice. It was the same exact debate at the 4th and 8 at the end of the Giants.
I'm so glad it's gone. I am so glad it's gone.
Well, Declan brought it back right there, but I did. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just such a polarizing thing, right? And then you go around to use your term, Phil, because you're so right. You go around in circles. Like it's
there's always a way. There's always a way to make it something else's fault, of course. Yeah.
But you know what? I would take him back at 1 year, 10 mil. Okay, yeah,
100%.
Cool. Let's do this because you know what? There was something here. The thing where KO deserves credit, I think, is number one. He took Kirk from being a really nice, good statistical QB, and he won games. Like 8 comeback wins. And I don't care what your point differential is right there. Are you kidding me? And then before he got hurt at 4-4, he had started to play great. Mm-hmm. And I think the Darnold conversation, it's so intriguing. It has to be weighed by two things. One is, yes, yesterday was bad, brutal. Yes, it's been bad of late, but it makes it probably more remarkable what KO got from him for an extended period of time.
Totally.
Like that's coaching too. And where I will give the Vikings a complete pass is you could say, well, it'd be nice to have a better backup, but they did. JJ McCarthy. Mm-hmm. So like it's not like, okay, Darnold stinks now, and your backup plan was Mullins. Like they did have the backup plan, and it didn't work. He got hurt, unfortunately. So it's a really nuanced, intriguing conversation. But here's what makes me so delighted, boys. It's not polarizing.
Well, it's no longer polarizing.
Correct.
You mean the Darnold conversation?
Yes.
Is there a time? Okay.
The Vikings quarterback, Darnold, it's not polarizing. I love that.
Here's another crazy stat for you. So Kevin O'Connell is now 10-8 with non-Kirk Cousins quarterbacks. Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, broken Sam Darnold. So a bunch of journeyman backups, a 5th-round rookie in over his head, and they lost some of those games last year, of course. And broken Sam Darnold, labeled as a bust universally across the league. All of those dudes come under the tutelage of Kevin O'Connell, the weapons and the system they've put together. And the Vikings are 10-8 in those games with that collection of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'll take Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah,
I'll take him as a head coach.
Yes, he's got faults. They all do. But this whole conversation, it's taken a weird turn.
Well, we literally had a guy on Ventline yesterday passionately rant about why KOC should be fired.
I mean,
which was a great rant, if not wildly incorrect.
I remember, so, Phil, we've disagreed on this one, but Brad Childress was hired from Philly, OC there, right? To come here and to be the quarterback whisperer because he was given credit for a lot of Donovan McNabb's success. And Childress ultimately, I think, was a good personnel guy, but a very questionable coach, in my opinion, especially as far as things like his 1 year of play calling went. So I covered that. I'm hard pressed. And we pick at KO occasionally because he's a head coach. He's going to get picked at. But that being said, this broad conversation of he should give up play calling, it's what he does. So he's going to give up play calling just to manage the game.
Dude, he is an awesome play caller.
And yeah, and I guess I'm a little bit confused to where we're going here. I think the early success of Darnold, Phil, created this perception that the Vikings had found this real QB and he was really good.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between what we saw and what we saw on Sunday lies the true Sam Darnold. But there's a reason why he was also a flop. He didn't have a great start with the Jets because the franchise stinks, but there were major faults there as well. So it's just a very weird discussion that I really don't get.
Yeah. So those are the hottest Vikings takes from us here to start this Monday. Got some Bears vent line coming up. Got a pie chart of praise coming up. I just opened the Prize Picks app, and so they don't have next week's games up yet because we have a Monday night game here between the Rams and the Dolphins. But you can get in on this is what the interface looks like. You just pop this thing open, and you pick for instance Matthew Stafford 255.5. I'd probably take less on that. I don't know. Tua 242.5, but that's how easy it is. You can cross different sports. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You select between 2 and 6 players. Could be a combination of different sports. You pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. It's that easy. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PURPLEDAILY to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code PURPLEDAILY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Finch Home Solutions. We had someone walk up to us yesterday, and say, "Hey, one of my friends has a home that was built in like the late 1800s.
Oh, yeah.
And they went to a couple contractors about some electrical issues. And he said, hey, my favorite podcast, Purple Daily, they talk about Finch Home Solutions, and they can fix whatever electrical problems, even with an 1800s house.
Yep.
Finch Home Solutions went to this house and fixed the 100-plus-year-old. I don't think the electrical was from the 1800s. I'm not sure we had lights in the late 1800s, Judd, but 1800s. Not sure.
You know what?
Like your candle problems.
Oh,
from
my
the
God,
late
that's
1800s.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, Cody and his team do a great job. And now check that out. You know what that house has? It has gemstone exterior lighting from Finch, permanent invisible soffit lighting that can display any color for any occasion, perhaps purple for game day. Holidays are coming up, right? We're talking about permanent lighting here, folks. We are not talking about something that you put up and take down. We're talking about home safety, because guess what? Those lights go on and intruders go, no, thank you. I'm out of here, because Finch has made your house as safe as possible. FinchHomeSolutions.com, 612-357-2604. FinchHomeSolutions.com. Get that permanent lighting and make sure that on game day you are well represented in purple.
Also, hey, Federated Mutual Insurance Company is like having a great offensive line protecting your business, unlike the team we're about to make fun of that allowed 9 sacks yesterday. Federated Insurance wants to make sure that you have a game plan in place to stay focused on safety, risk management, and preventing claims so you can stay focused on growing your business. Federated offers a customizable lineup of industry-specific coverages so that you, again, can stay focused on growing your business. To find out more about their history dating back to 1904 in Owatonna, Minnesota, and the industries they specialize in, go to federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, boys. The Bears lost in epic fashion, a 19-3 absolute embarrassment at home against the Patriots. You had reporters going at Matt Eberflus in the postgame press conference, and you had various media outlets losing their minds. This is Bears Vent Line on Purple Daily.
Folks, if that isn't a fireable offense of watching that game, then I don't know what Chicago Bears management needs to move on from an incompetent, in-over-his-head football coach. I don't want to hear any more about the hits principle, because your team did not come today ready to play. They were flat. They were out-prepared. Gerard Mayo, that dude did a hell of a job as their head coach. He's a defensive guy. And guess what? 9 times they sacked Caleb Williams. 9 freaking sacks.
9 times.
Oh, man. That was from, let me get the...
Folks, if that is...
Kaplan, the old talk show host, he's got a YouTube channel with 200,000 subs.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good. That's
Bears media.
That is so it is right now 9:36 in the morning on Monday as we record this. I am taking it that Matt Eberflus is still employed by the Chicago Bears. Is that correct?
As of right now, and fans seem to disagree with that notion.
Is on the northwest side. Bill, welcome to the Score. How are you?
I'm pissed off. That's how I'm doing. I mean, what we saw today was a disgrace. I am very happy, and I want to disagree with Olin 100%. I am glad the Bears players came out and said that the coaches were incompetent. I mean, for Matt Eberflus to come back after the Washington game and say that the second play before, the play before the Hail Mary had nothing to do with them losing is BS. That's number one. Okay? And then come out today again against the team and get slaughtered at home. Now you're facing the Packers, Minnesota, and Detroit back-to-back weeks. And you expect this, and tomorrow morning he's going to go and meet the Bears media, and he's going to say we had a meeting and everything is great, and we're all on the same page. Well, what page are they on? He's full of crap. He should be fired right this minute. And what he did to Caleb Williams again today, under 2 minutes, losing by 16 points, and he's getting the crap kicked out of him. And he leaves him in the game to get his head bashed in. I hope Caleb Williams' father tonight, I hope he tweets something so bad that it gets Matt Eberflus fired.
I thought I was going to cry.
Yep.
I think he did cry a little bit.
It sounded like it.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds in.
It was so good, though.
His voice cracked a little bit.
And Bears fans are, because the accent is just second to none.
It really is. That was from The Score in Chicago. I think this is also from The Score in Chicago. Let's see what else we have here.
This is what the end looks like. Like when a team is going this poorly, this is what it looks like at the end.
Don't fire him. Don't fire him. Wait till after the Vikings game.
In 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
They're going to get so unlucky.
I don't want to fire him.
The Bears are going to fire him and rise up from the dead for a couple weeks.
I know. Don't fire him.
What about Doug Peterson?
I fired him this morning.
We should be keeping an eye on him.
That was gross.
There's a chance he could get fired today, right?
Well, and then did you see when at his press conference a reporter asked for an explanation of what was supposed to happen on the Cam Bynum pick?
And he's like, you guys wouldn't understand.
You guys wouldn't understand it. We'll look at the tape, but I'm not going to explain it because you guys wouldn't understand it. I covered Doug.
Okay, bud.
When he was the backup QB to Favre in Green Bay, just a great guy. So he is like, this is not good. Like he's been driven off the cliff.
It's over. Let's grab one more here. This is from CHGO.
These are great.
In Chicago. Lance Briggs had some takes.
I think we used to say the Lions are going to lion. Woo! Don't you do it. 100%.
Don't you do it. Oh, no. Are we there?
Are the Bears going to bear? Are the Bears going to bear? Oh, no. Like, that's where we are. That's where we are right now. And it doesn't look like, from what came out of Hallis Hall, they're going to keep Eberflus.
Right.
From what we're hearing from sources. So if they're going to keep Eberflus and they're not going to make any changes, that means the Bears. That means the Bears are going to bear.
Okay. We have one more. I just found this. This happened an hour ago on ESPN 1000.
Oh, my gosh.
Eberflus joined the show. And let's just say he had some cell phone issues. I'm going to play this clip. I haven't listened to this yet. I've only read about it, and I found the clip. Here we go.
Coach, I asked you this last week that are you in crisis? And you said, no, we're not. If this isn't crisis, I don't know what it is. So I ask you again, is this a crisis that's going on right now in Hallis Hall, and how does it get addressed?
You know, we're looking at this week and this week only. We do have evidence on tape that we've played good football during the course of this year. We got to pull those experiences.
Coach, your cell phone's as bad as the offense right now. All right, we'll put them on hold and see if we can reestablish.
It was a little quiet. I wasn't able to change the volume, but yes, that was.
Coach, your cell phone's as bad as your offense. Oh, man.
You know what, though? That's the type of thing when anyone says the media here is too tough, right? The media here is too tough.
They're going, yeah.
Can you imagine?
Not that Kevin O'Connell has been in a position to be grilled like that.
Zimmer was at times.
Well, I mean, did Zimmer do regular? Did he do regular hits on KFXN radio?
I think he did something with the afternoon drive host.
Okay.
But anyway, he was never. But I mean, he's mocking him there.
I mean, they're literally clowning him, and then of course, this is where Eberflus has no self-respect. He's just like taking it and giving a generic. Well, we have evidence on film that dude, get out of here. At least spar with these guys, right? At least like push back a little bit. tell them they're talking in hyperbole. Stand up for your guys. I mean, is there a less influential, inspiring coach in the NFL right now than Matt Eberflus? The Vikings would be lucky if he is still coaching in 2 weeks when they play the Bears.
Yeah, you do not want to change that.
Yeah,
you do not want to change that. Absolutely not.
Man. Wow, that was glorious. You guys ready for a pie chart?
Yes.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
All right. Hopefully the math is right on this here. Let's see. One final check.
Double check it.
Me and Judd are out this week. We're good.
I double checked mine like 8 times before last week because I was flirting with very, very in-depth numbers.
Yeah.
And by that I mean they weren't in increments of 10.
No, you like to do the you like to do the decimals, the points.
I live dangerously.
You do.
Yeah, you kind of set yourself up for
I bungee cord
disaster.
jump on those
it's very
things.
Sam Darnold of you. You're in the deep red and you're throwing these passes that are just probably not necessary. You should just run the ball.
I'm forcing them in, Dex.
Just run the ball.
That's how sports that is. It's forcing them in.
So I believe we're going to go with 6 slices of pie here in this pie chart. Starting with 5% to Josh Oliver. I think this is Josh Oliver's debut in the pie chart. Pretty sure. So he comes up with big catches again. His last 3 games, again, Josh Oliver, a run-blocking tight end in the NFL. The Vikings brought him in to help fix their running game a year ago. Now, in college, he caught the ball a lot, like 50-plus catches his last year. He was a threat in the passing game, and we're seeing why. He's a great athlete. He has, in his last 3 games, 11 catches for $140 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So some props and credit to Josh Oliver. And I think the fact that he can catch passes like this and he can run after the catch, they're running a lot more, it would seem, 12 personnel, which is instead of having 11 personnel is 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. This would be 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, because Hawkinson's kind of your number 2 wide receiver. Addison may be like your number 3. And then Josh Oliver, if you can leave him on the field, he can catch passes, and you can also run out of those sets too. So Josh Oliver, man, 5%.
You might not recall this, gentleman, but a week ago, the Sports Dad gave Josh a 20% slice of pie.
Okay, you did. Yep.
A 20% slice of pie. How quickly it's forgotten.
No, I did forget about the 20% to Josh. Congratulations.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Let's give another 5% to the other tight end, TJ Hawkinson, 8 catches for 72 yards. 6 of the 8 catches went for first downs in that game yesterday. So he's back. He looks 100% healthy. He's just a big, reliable target right around the sticks, a guy that you can rely on as a safety blanket. And I still think there's enough games left. He has 11 catches now, I think, in the 2 games. There's a chance he could still push his way up to be like top 7 or top 8 in receptions. Because it's, once you get past like the top 5 tight ends in the NFL right now,
right?
He's going to catch a lot of passes down the stretch. And if you're Kevin O'Connell, I think you urge Sam Darnold, use your safety outlets, okay?
Yep.
Don't be afraid. Listen, we love pushing the ball down the field, but if it's Darnold leads the league in interceptions, and it's not because he's leading the league in pass attempts. He also has, I believe, the highest or one of the highest interception rates on a per throw basis. So, hey, use your tight end safety blanket. There's no shame. TJ Hawkinson, 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Keep going. Yeah.
Okay. You guys feel free to chime in if you have takes on this. Otherwise, I'll just fly through this.
I am with you 1,000%. The tight ends were fantastic. The tight ends, I said this on Ventline yesterday. I don't think the Vikings win that game if Hawkinson is still out with the knee problem.
No, because who catches the 8 passes?
Yeah, well, and they'll start down.
Johnny Munt, probably not going to get 72 yards.
I'm okay with that too. As much as I like him, I'm okay with him not catching those passes.
I'm going 15% to new long snapper Jake McQuaid and Ryan Wright.
Okay.
As a combination.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the Vikings won that game because of field goals. At one point, McQuaid, as Kevin O'Connell said in his post-game address to the team, that, hey, because McQuaid and Ryan Wright both got game balls for their role in the field goal process. Which, by the way, it's a barn burner of a football game.
Oh, yeah.
When the long snapper and the holder wind up getting game balls in the locker room afterwards.
Yep.
But he referred to, was it the first one? It was like one of the shorter ones, like the 30-some yarder. And McQuaid got a little excited, as Kevin O'Connell said. And it was a wide, bad snap. But Ryan Wright with those great wide receiver hands.
Yeah.
Great athlete. One of the great athlete holders in the NFL. And he gets those mitts out, gets that ball down. So 15%. You swapped out your long snapper, and Ryan Wright's back there as the intermediary. So 15% to those guys for just getting the job done on those field goals.
And that right play was outstanding because that was it was a bad snap and a fastball. Like that easily could have evaded him. So yeah. And I have a feeling that we're not done yet with the kicking game.
We are not.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Because we're giving 20% to JPR, John Parker Romo. Sorry,
you don't care what his name is.
It's John Parker Romo, dude. We need to convince him to keep the 3-name.
I'll talk to him this week.
Yeah,
right.
On Wednesday, I'll go talk to him.
Plus, we had JPR chants breaking out inside Park Tavern.
And it can't be PR. You're right. You're right.
It's like if you want the chance, you got to keep the 3 names, buddy.
Yep.
But if I would have told you guys, hey, you don't know how this happens, but for the Vikings to win this game against Jacksonville, they need a huge performance from John Parker Romo. What is your confidence level? That, like, if he doesn't have a huge performance, they lose this game. And you would have said what?
0.
Okay.
A new snapper, a new kicker, who they couldn't cut fast enough. Yeah, I would have said 0. They're done. They're cooked. And by the way, that must be a bad football game. I would have been right on that one.
Yeah, so he comes through, he's nails. I think some people probably would take issue with him only getting 20%. But I'm going to keep going here.
Yeah.
25%.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
To the trio of Harrison Phillips, Byron Murphy, and Cam Bynum for absolutely icing that game out when it needed to be. Hey, Mac Jones has a few chances here to put together scoring drives and win this game. And the Vikings are going to need some turnovers or some big plays. And Harrison Phillips with that fumble play. Byron Murphy with 3rd game in a row with an interception. And then, Cam Bynum, that was like I wish Doug Peterson would have explained it to us idiots what happened on that play. We're going to have to wait for somebody else to break down the film. Yep. But, that's not easy still. You're going back, you're tracking it. It's a deep pass. It's over your shoulder. And to secure that and to make that diving catch, if he doesn't haul it in, maybe the Jaguars keep going on that drive. So those 3 guys coming up with huge plays to get the ball back and prevent the Jaguars from scoring points.
How is Byron grading out on PFF this year? Because I feel like the entire show, and especially me, has been like, he's okay, but if he leaves, who cares?
Yeah.
I think I got to backtrack that a bit. Like, he's made 3 consecutive games with picks. He's making plays. I don't know that I owe him an apology yet, but I definitely owe him a second, like, you know what? I might have been just flat out wrong. He's made some big plays.
Yeah, PFF actually loves him this year. He is the Vikings' 5th highest graded player on the roster behind Jonathan Grenard. Well, Jalen Redmond hasn't played enough snaps to qualify. So actually, it's Grenard 1, just straight PFF grade. Cashman 2, Metellus 3, Byron Murphy 4.
See?
And he's really, what is he, like 27? He doesn't even turn 27 until January.
Yeah.
So you could re-sign. He's sitting there ready to be re-signed if you trust him enough. Murphy on a new contract. Mekhi Blackman coming back from the injury. And that feels a little less daunting because right now it feels like you might have to fill 3 starting cornerback spots. But if you commit to Murphy and you have some cap space and Mekhi Blackman comes back, now all of a sudden you're looking for 1 cornerback instead of 2 or 3 guys.
If your choice of one of these 2 to bring back is Byron Murphy Jr. or Cam Bynum, which one do you bring back?
Bynum. 1,000 times over, I feel like. Byron Murphy's got some nice interceptions here, but I mean, like, would we be losing Byron Murphy in free agency?
Well, I mean, cornerback is the more premium position. Yeah. It's the more premium position. Now, okay, Harrison Smith, is he going to retire? And now all of a sudden you're losing Harrison Smith and you're losing Cam Bynum. And Josh Metellus is not your classic. Right. He doesn't play the same safety that Cam Bynum plays. He's more of an up in the box, rushing the passer, you know. That's a good question. I think I would lean Cam Bynum, but, you know, if you're sitting there right now and you have no starting cornerbacks under contract, if they like Theo Jackson enough too, and we've been talking about that for 2 years, he just can't get on the field.
Big question.
But, those are some long-term questions to be hashed out. And then
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
I'm going to stick to my hottest take from earlier, 30% to Kevin O'Connell. That was a masterpiece of an offensive game plan that should have the Vikings, if not for Sam Darnold short-circuiting, would have won that game by 3 or 4 touchdowns. So kind of a big picture slice for KOC here too. 10-8 in the post-Kirk Cousins era with a bunch of hodgepodge random dudes. And he's scheming around a left tackle being out for the season, bringing a new left tackle. He's scheming around internal pressure because Garrett Bradbury is still light in the sand in the pants department. Still gets forklifted off the line of scrimmage. So I'm giving 30% to Kevin O'Connell for his ability to win and put together game plans for really bad quarterbacks or for quarterbacks that were cast aside or were journeymen. So 30% KOC, 25% Harrison Phillips, Byron Murphy, Cam Bynum, 20% to John Parker Romo, 15% to new long snapper Jake McQuaid and Ryan Wright, the holder, 5% TJ Hawkinson, 5% Josh.
The Rock knows
Oliver.
how you feel about pie.
JPR would like a little bit more. Just called, said,
that's fair.
Give me at least 25%, Mackie. Come on, Mackie.
I would flip those. I mean, I would be willing to listen on 30% for John Parker Romo and take a little off Kevin O'Connell's plate.
But the defensive one, yeah. And I know the Jags aren't good, but that was when you look at both sides of that box score statistically to dominate a team like they did defensively, you got to give them some credit too. So, no question.
Yep. Let me know who we're missing here in the YouTube comment section. If there's any obvious. I tried to look at I
don't think so.
I mean, Jonathan Grenard is always doing some stuff and putting pressure on guys, but Harrison Phillips, Byron Murphy, and Cam Bynum were the mains. We're gonna get to our nitpicks off that game yesterday. But Jeff, what are you stoked about these days?
Well, there's no question. I'm stoked about one thing and one thing only, and that is our good friends at Stoked Barbecue Pellets, a Minnesota-based and operated company. Stoked is the premium pellet that cooks anything that you throw on the grill or smoker to delicious perfection. Stoked covers all the barbecue bases, perfect for fish, beef, pork, chicken, turkey. I could go through the entire list. Stoked is absolutely fantastic, and here is the best part. Stoked products available at all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores. You've got 50-count fire starter buckets, 4-count fire starter bags, and the barbecue caddy, which I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a grill master, is going to make your life as easy as possible. Again, don't go with the big guys. Go with Stoked and find all of the Stoked products at all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores. And grill masters, you will be elated.
Also, KS Drywall, we appreciate their partnership during this 2024 season. They provide full drywall, plaster repair, popcorn ceiling, texture removal, and interior painting services. So whatever job you're looking for, whether it's a new construction or a small emergency repair, maybe you're preparing to put your house on the market and get rid of some old school popcorn ceiling texture, no job is too big or too small for KS Drywall. Their crew is professional, courteous, and clean. Quality communication throughout the duration of your project, and they pride themselves on quality craftsmanship. So if you want to find out more, head to ksdrywall.com to schedule a free estimate. ksdrywall.com. They're also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All right, nitpicks. When the Vikings win, we nitpick. When they lose, we give you silver linings. We keep it balanced on the show.
Nitpick for me, more procedural penalties. Cam Robinson got called a couple times yesterday. Just random little things. Now, the Vikings actually, I think, did a pretty good job making up for penalties at times during those calls yesterday. But can we get on the same page a little bit here? Those things are just absolutely killing the Vikings. And if I can give a second one here, because this dawned on me watching Sunday Night Football, and I know our vent line guest also touched on this. My nitpick is this whole Skycam thing, and when was this established, and when are we just going to understand what this is for and what this isn't for? Like, it's just bailing calls out all the time, which is great, by the way. I want the right call to happen, and I want it to happen quick. But where was this the whole time? And can we get an explanation on how this thing actually works? Because I feel like it's just been this sleeping giant that arose over the last few weeks, even though it's probably been around all season.
Yeah, replay assist.
Yeah. Replay assist
is what they're calling it.
Yeah, and it's not review, because you don't have to throw the challenge flag, and it covers certain things but not all things. I think we talked about this on Ventline. It's a great idea, but they don't know how to execute it properly yet, and so it becomes this mystery of like the angel of replay assist just drops in occasionally, but can't drop in all the time. So they'll fix a spot, but they can't fix a major infraction. And I think the competition committee, when they meet in March, they need to pass a resolution to make this a lot more clear on what you can and can't do. And if you can't, make it make sense that you can't. Like roughing the passer, replay assist can help. Face mask on the passer, replay assist can't help.
But why can't it help? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
That kid makes no sense. My nitpick on the same thing is, and the Vikings certainly have things to nitpick, but Adrian Hill and his officiating crew, again, I mean, I understand that the procedural penalties are your point of emphasis. So when Cam Robinson lines up slightly off the line of scrimmage, which he's not supposed to be, they throw a flag. Okay, because you are looking at this much and you're going to get that right because your boss has said you got to get that right. But you're missing things left and right on both sides. I thought yesterday's game was, from both sides, horribly officiated. The game was already bad enough. Don't make it worse. Like it was like there were three guilty parties, right? The Vikings, Darnold in particular, the Jaguars, the entire team, and the officiating crew. You know, the first Darnold pick, Jefferson's being grabbed. The ball gets tipped, but they don't throw the flag. There were plays on the other way where the Vikings were guilty. So I mean, that game was bad enough with how Darnold and the Jaguars were playing. I didn't need the officiating crew to jump in and say, hold on a second. If it's going to be a bad game, we'll join in too.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this is solved by replay assist if they were to just commit to it in a productive way. And it wasn't just the Vikings-Jaguars game. You know, there was near the end of the Lions-Houston game, there was a pass interference call that probably should have been sniffed out by a replay assist. Yep. There was two or three other things around the league yesterday too.
But how hard is that? But here's what frustrates me, and it's where I partially absolve officials, but I don't completely. Why are we worried? Like, the original intent of the procedural penalty was when a Chiefs lineman was basically 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, okay?
And jumping early.
So we make up for that by saying, hold on a second, your big toe was a centimeter behind. Like, what are we doing? Nobody goes to a game to watch procedural penalties called unless we can clearly see a wide receiver lined up on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Also, like, if you were, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but if you were to ask the defense, hey, all right, this ball's about to be snapped, opposing team on defense and coaching staff, is there anything overtly wrong here that you're worried about? They would say, no, I don't think so. Now, if Cam Robinson jumps early, like the Chiefs' right tackle has been for the last 3 years, okay, that should be a penalty. But yeah, that was bad. And then they showed it again, and it was like, wait, his back foot is in the same spot as Brian O'Neill's on the other side. Yeah. So what's the penalty?
I told you this. I guarantee you, because he just got traded from the Jaguars, that because I think each head coach has, like, separately a half-hour sit-down with the officials before the game. I guarantee you, Doug said, watch this guy. He lines up, because they probably taught him to in Jacksonville.
Or they knew it was a thing because he's...
Can we focus on getting the big calls right and not sweat if my knee twitches?
Yeah, I agree. I'll give you one last nitpick here, and it's that the Vikings still are having a hard time gaining yards on the ground when Aaron Jones isn't the running back. So Aaron Jones had 17 carries for 88 yards, 5.2 yards per attempt. And it was a lot of just chunks. His long run was only 13. So it wasn't like he had a 50-yard home run and then a bunch of small runs. It's just 4, 6. It's just chunks. Everybody else was 26 rushes for 81 yards at 3 yards per carry. Now, that does include 7 Sam Darnold rushes where he's either being flushed from the pocket or they're doing like a tush-push type of a thing. So sometimes those can be skewed. But Cam Akers, only 13 carries for 38 yards, so 2.9 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. And I still trust Cam Akers. He's a veteran. You can put him in there on third downs and stuff. But, yeah, they just, unless it's Aaron Jones, they've had a hell of a time gaining yards on the ground with anybody else this season.
Although, during the course of the game, I think it was the second time after Cam was slammed to the ground, off mic, you did have an astute observation. Quit jumping.
He's jumping in the air a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
But, like, you've got no chance then.
Spine bustered.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to get picked up by, you're going to get picked up in an uncomfortable place, then and slammed down. So, like, dude, just keep your feet churning, right? Like, that's the old thing. Keep your feet moving. Keep your feet churning. He's jumping like he's going to, jump cut? But he's doing it with a defender basically hugging him already. It is weird. But, yeah, I think we are seeing, as Dex said yesterday, I think we're seeing, if it's reasonable, more and more of a case to try to bring Jones back. Like, I'm not going 3 years. I'm not going a lot, but I would definitely consider it more than I thought previously. Now, he's getting older, and he's going to, as we saw again, get hurt. But all of that being said, we haven't seen a guy like him in purple in a long time.
Yeah, his touches are also up, by the way. Like, I know last few years in Green Bay, he was more with the committee, but he already is at 170 touches through 9 games. He had 172 total in the regular season through 11 games. So, I mean, they're using him. And to be honest, use and abuse. Like, I was even going to use that in a statement. Like, use and abuse Aaron Jones for right now, because I do not trust the Cam Akers and everyone else to make this running game work.
Yep, and there's means to go get other running backs if you need to move off him next year. You could use a 5th-round pick. I don't think you're going to use your 1st-round pick unless it's the Boise State kid that falls. But, there's every year there are guys like Aaron Jones available. Saquon Barkley was available.
Was Joe
Derrick
Mixon?
Henry was available. Joe Mixon. These dudes were just available to be signed. The Tony Pollards of the world. So, all right, boys. That's a wrap. What a win for the Vikings. For John Parker Romo.
Hold on.
For the new long snapper guy. For Sam Darnold's first fourth quarter comeback victory in 5 years. Get the flag.
Flag's out. 7-2. Wins the
7-2. Win. Titans on the horizon. Bears on the horizon. We got you guys covered here every single day on Purple Daily. If you haven't, maybe you're new, welcome in. Click that subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. And if you could give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple and Spotify, it also helps us grow this thing. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.